Hey guys, Tyler here. Jackie Chan is pretty much one of my favorite action stars of all time. And what a better way to talk about Jackie Chan than through this new Blu-ray release for the Young Master from the UK.
It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler. It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler.
The Young Master marks a really interesting period for Jackie Chan movies to come because not only is the first ever Golden Harvest movie he had ever done, but it's also the second movie he has directed. The first movie he has ever directed was The Fearless Hyena, and with this movie marks a beginning of ambitious stunts and comedy and the like for much more pictures to come. And of course, thanks to Golden Harvest, many Jackie Chan classics were produced through his own production company through the 90s, and of course, they made so many classics together. During the 70s and the 80s, Golden Harvest was like the main competitor for Shaw Brothers. Now, Golden Harvest was actually founded by employees that were part of Shaw Brothers to compete against them because they felt as though they had like a lack of creativity, and so the production had bigger budgets, and of course, the people behind the movies had much more creative power to do whatever they want to do. And so the first ever kind of box office success for Golden Harvest was actually the Bruce Lee movies. And so once Jackie Chan started to make like these movies, they also got like a lot of success during the 80s during that time period. Now the plot for The Young Master is pretty much just simplicity at its core. You don't necessarily watch martial art movies for the story, you pretty much watch martial art movies for the action. And oh my god, of course the action delivers. Like some of the stuff that I got into my mind when I first watched this movie on Blu-ray was basically the whole entire fight with the dragons. There was a part where basically Jackie Chan has some sort of competition with the dragons, and of course this competition is well known in China, and they were just dancing with the dragon. I mean, it's not really fighting per se, but oh my god, when that scene first happened, I just really like it. Really like it. Another part that really stood out to me when I was watching this movie was also the many moments of slapsticks. Like you get to see like a lot of funny moments. Like every single Jackie Chan movie I've seen so far have been super funny, and this one is no exception to the rule. And also the ending fight scene was super intense. Like it was like 8 minutes long of just pure fighting, but it was just super intense and super worth it. Now getting back to the story and at the fight scenes, of course, more or less is about like a guy, like the team members had some sort of competition with the dragon or the dog things, whatever. I cannot really remember. And basically after that point, they lost the whole entire battle or like the tournament for those kind of dog things, whatever things. And so the master get really upset. And of course he starts, do some sort of discipline against like Jackie Chan. And he also asks Jackie Chan to find like, his student because the student left. And so it's up to Jackie Chan to find that student. Meanwhile, he gets falsely accused of doing something wrong, being part of a gang or whatever. And so throughout the whole entire movie, there's like scenarios and slapstick of like Jackie Chan trying to, trick people and stuff. It's really funny, really great. And towards the end of the movie, of course, Jackie Chan helps the law enforcement to find like the one person that he was actually accused of. And that's the whole entire movie in a nutshell. When I was watching this movie, I was just noticing like a lot of familiar faces from movies that I've seen in the past. Because once you see like a lot of kung fu movies, you get to see like a lot of faces that you already seen before. For example, the guy who played like Han from like Enter the Dragon is basically in this movie. There's also this guy called Tian Fang, if I remember correctly. He's pretty much the same sort of guy that was in the Bruce Lee movies too. And so I noticed like there was like a lot of cast members that I've seen before that I seen in these other movies prior to watching this one. So what's my final verdict for this film? I definitely enjoyed it. It's like a lot of fun. It's a fun transition film from like the modern day like Jackie Chan films we see today. And obviously it's super funny. The characters I guess are kind of interesting. But for the most part, the fighting and the comedy is just hilarious. I highly recommend it. And of course, this Blu-ray set from 88 Films is not too shabby either. From what I gather, 88 Films is pretty much a new kind of label from like Great Britain. And so this is the first time I've ever bought something from them, and of course they have not disappointed me in the slightest. This Blu-ray set has a new artwork that was done by Kung Fu Bob, if not mistaken correctly, and also on the back of the box there's like a description of the various extras for the movies, which by the way there are like plenty of extras if you guys are into that kind of stuff. Now inside of the whole entire slip box you get like a lot of stuff. You get like the Blu-ray case. Now what's interesting about this Blu-ray case is that it has the newly commissioned artwork for the front and the back, but when you flip the artwork around, you get like the original poster artwork that was also done in the past. You also get a poster. Now this poster is double-sided. On one side, you get the original artwork that was done in the 80s, and the other side, you get the newly commissioned artwork. And you also get like a booklet. And the booklet has, of course, the information behind the movie, how it was created, and stuff like that. So if you guys are into history, you'll definitely will enjoy the booklet. And you finally get some sort of postcards, which pretty much have frames of the various parts that happen in the movie. So again, it's a very nice collectible to have. Now, the whole entire downside for this Blu-ray set is that it's not necessarily region free. This whole entire set is actually region locked, so there are two ways to actually play this disc. The first way, of course, is through a region free Blu-ray player, or the second way to do it is by a computer. So what I did for this whole entire review was that I used my own personal Blu-ray player from my Mac and put the disc inside, and of course I clicked on a software that opened the whole entire disc up and set the region to region B, and of course I had no problem playing the whole entire movie that way because it actually works region free on computers without any problems. Now the first disc is loaded with extras and audio options. Now the audio options include Cantonese in the model soundtrack, Cantonese for the home mix, you get Cantonese with the alternative soundtrack that was used for the English dubs, you get an English dub that was produced in the 2000s, and you also get some audio commentaries about the history of the movie. Now the remaining extras include an abundance of different trailers for the movies, as well as upcoming releases from Jackie Chan from 88 films. You get like an abundance of behind the scene footage from Jackie Chan, from the various outtakes of the movies, from alternate shots of the movies. You get like all this sort of stuff into one disc. Now the second disc is really interesting because there's like two other cuts for this film. Now the two other cuts include the original English dubs, as well as a song that was done by Jackie Chan that was entirely in English, and a whole entire different soundtrack for this whole entire two cuts for these movies. So you get like a total of 3 different movies, an abundance of extras, a poster, a booklet, newly done artwork. It's like so packed full of extras that if you're a fan of Jackie Chan, you will really enjoy this set. Overall, I recommend this set for those who have the time and the money to actually import it, and for those who are a fan of Jackie fans, and for those who are fans of like, imports. Because again, you guys have to get like a region-free player to play this set, otherwise it will not actually work on your television set. So what do you guys think about this Blu-ray set? Tell me in the comment section down below, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.
It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler. He's your only black friend, so he's your best black friend. I wouldn't trade him for another black friend, because black friends are rare, as you should be aware. He smiles like Richard Pryor, so just sit and stare. It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler. It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler. It's everyone's friend, it's Tyler.